Kid shows have gotten dumb. Like super uber duper goober dumb. Every time I watch a kid show, it feels like it's lobotomizing me, right? And I'll admit, sometimes I like to be lobotomized. Drool on my face, picking my butt. It's like watching an episode of Planet Chaser Starlet Excellent from regular show. Like, legitimately, let me show you a modern clip from Spongebob. The writers were in that room, and they were like, yeah, they'll watch anything. And you know what? They're right, because it's honestly pretty funny. But the problem is, when everything in your show is like that, nothing ever stands out. SpongeBob has countless iconic scenes and images and still screens. I'm sure you've seen them all across the internet. And it's because a lot of the time, it catches you completely off guard. Just some random still shot of SpongeBob's oogie boogie boogers, you know what I'm fucking saying? Or when they go through the perfume patch through the Flying Dutchman's ship, or, you know, when SpongeBob turns into a sponge, when they just become live action, like, those are all extremely memorable scenes. And the reason we're able to remember something as insignificant as SpongeBob making like a little rainbow above his head is because that's not the entire episode. SpongeBob isn't conjuring rainbows out of his ass 24/7. The majority of the episode is just amazing dialogue without any of that crazy ornamentation or whatever that's in the new wackier episodes. And it's just a simple thing that old SpongeBob was so good at, which is contrast. And I'll get a lot more into that later on, but SpongeBob was really good at contrast. And they use this contrast to subvert your expectations a lot. Now, I'll fucking admit it. I enjoy SpongeBob more now. As a 19-year-old, I don't know if I could actually call myself a grown man, because there's been discourse on the internet saying, how you a man at 19? Like, all right. Regardless, I enjoy it more now because SpongeBob isn't a show made just for kids. It's a great comedy show that, you know, maybe doesn't show the boobies and the booties and doesn't say the F word every now and then, and the humor's a little bit more tame, but that creative restriction a lot of the times gives way to a lot of funny moments. And some of the best characters you'll ever see are in these kid shows because, yeah, they can be a little bit more goofy without the adults being like, all right, what the fuck is going on here? I need to see some ass. But trust me, I understand. No, I get why this show, specifically SpongeBob, but I'll get more into it later on the other stuff, had to go so far down the drain. Society is cooked. You've heard it 1,000 times. I can't watch a video, and I'm talking about me specifically. If I ever resist the urge for literally more than 2 seconds, the immediate urge to scroll, I start to feel physically uncomfortable. I'm like, man, I need my next fucking... Like, the target demographic, the consumers of the TV shows of today's age are definitely a lot different. It's a different beast. So it makes sense. These shows have to be over the top. These kids, they got better things to do. They have fucking Skibidi Toilet and Hawk-Tuah, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, because it's so much more focused on stimulation, and you know where I'm going with this, they kind of have to ignore everything else, like character development, actual like characters in line with how they're supposed to act, plot, structure, stakes. Like, God forbid you develop any of this. So instead of a typical episode having these great moments that build up to a satisfying conclusion where your emotions are engaged and your mood is boosted afterwards, you get something more like this. And this let me tell you, this is fucking dangerous. All right, you may think I'm being dramatic, but I'll get into it. When you watch something like this, you begin to question if you're even a biological human being. Are you conscious, or are you just a flesh sack meant to just consume pretty colors and loud sounds? And I don't want to be one of those guys that are like, you can't even sit down to watch a visual experience. I spit on thee, you troglodyte subhuman tiny brain. But what I am trying to say here is there needs to be a little bit more of a balance. You don't need 5 minutes of exposition and fucking grass shots every time you introduce a new scene or character. Yeah, I didn't like the Zack Snyder movie. Fucking sue me. It was too boring. Yeah, I get a Pee-wee brain. But at the same time, it really should not look like this. Now, I think a good way to convey my point here is using SpongeBob as the focus, is comparing a modern episode, Squidward, and a classic episode, season 1, episode 4, Naughty Nautical Neighbors, right? And kind of showing you what 24 years does to a show. And the general plot for both of these episodes are the same. Squidward doing some fancy Squidward shit. He gets annoyed by SpongeBob and Patrick sending messages to each other with that whatever medium that may be, and he starts to plot against them. That's pretty much it. But the way they handle, these episodes are just so vastly different, and I need to make this clear to you. Let me play these 2 episodes for you side by side, just so you see what I'm saying. Just completely sped up. You kind of see like a general picture. The framing, the direction, the way the story is told. You can clearly see these are just completely different shows. These are not the same shows. These are just the same vessels of animation. You know what I'm saying? These are the same characters, but it's not the same fucking show.
What? I'm here to provide additional context and more information on what the point I was saying. Yeah, I ramble a lot, so a lot of the times my point never really gets across fully. If I had to describe old SpongeBob, it's a show that's built on character dynamics, dialogue, and yes, it had these funny, wacky situations, like Mr. Krabs trying to go out and steal his mother's briefs. The entire show is pretty much driven on the dialogue. It's all writing. But in the past 24 years, they've definitely lost that writing. They've lost the plot, as to say. It's just visual gags. On the animation style, because when you compare those side by side, that's the biggest difference you can see between the two. Everyone likes to say, oh, modern SpongeBob lost its soul, and old SpongeBob this and that, and cell animation, and old SpongeBob was so much more pretty, and I hate to be one of those guys, but I do agree, yes, objectively, the animation, like, it's smooth, right? But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I have 2 400-gram bags of kale and spinach in the fridge right now. If I cook that shit up, and I just ate it all, I cooked that shit up, whipped that up in the kitchen right now, with nothing else. First off, it's gonna taste like shit. And second off, I'm missing my other micronutrients. I don't care how much the Japanese love kale. Before, these wacky shots and bending of anatomical character designs were only used to provide emphasis. And as I said before, they were effective because it contrasted the normal status quo. And the problem is now, this becomes the new status quo. This animation style of wackiness and goofiness 24/7. This is the standard. So now it's like, it can't be considered wacky and goofy anymore. And when I watch a show like this, I'm like, wow, these animators, these writers, they're so scared. They're so scared of Mr. Beast. And they're so scared of Hawk-Tuah. And I get it, right? Hawk-Tuah was pretty fucking funny. But when you dumb down your show like this, you really limit your target demographic. This is a show now just for kids. It is now a kid's show. When before, yes, it was classified as a kid's show. But I, as a 19-year-old man, could enjoy it still, But now, if SpongeBob was mopping the floors, mopping the poop deck, and the Krusty Krab, if he isn't holding the mop with his eyeballs and using his hands to scratch Squidward's little scalp while Squidward's, becomes a Play-Doh doll of mush covering his like a symbiote. I think I got a little carried away. But you get what I'm trying to say, right? When the entire story becomes all visual, then there isn't any substance anymore. It's all ice cubes and no drink, you know what I'm saying? It's all air and no chips. With once again, the final point being SpongeBob has no contrast. Alright, bye-bye.
And then to delve deeper into the comparisons of these episodes, look how Squidward reacts to SpongeBob and Patrick being dickheads. Like, what is this? He isn't supposed to be this wacky, he's supposed to be this goofy, like, oh, you fucking know him? Like, you know who Squidward is? Yeah, I kinda do. Squidward was expressive before. It's not like he wasn't expressive, but he did it in his Squidward way. He did it that was true to his character, not this fucking jumbo-wumbo, like, wacky shit, And SpongeBob, I feel like they forgot how to write their characters. So, not only now does the plot and, the pacing and this and that and the dialogue or whatever lacks contrast between slow bits, fast bits, the characters themselves don't have contrast. Everyone is just fucking SpongeBob. Squidward is angry SpongeBob, Patrick is dumb SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs is greedy SpongeBob, Plankton looks yummy, like they're all the fucking same. And all the interesting character dynamics, which was, by the way, the heart and soul of old SpongeBob, it's no longer present. It just doesn't exist anymore. Everyone's just fucking SpongeBob. I'm watching SpongeBob interact with SpongeBob, but in different moods of SpongeBob. Like, I've seen SpongeBob act this way before. I've seen SpongeBob tweak out. Like, I know my boy. Like, imagine if they tried to do some of the classic SpongeBob episodes again. Like, think about, like, Secret Box, for example. That's one of my favorite episodes of all time. Let me literally give you the plot synopsis right now. Patrick has a secret box SpongeBob is curious what it is. That is the entire episode. Such a simple situation. They're literally just talking to each other. But because these characters are so airtight, so beautifully written, it's just an amazing experience. There's literally no way they could recreate that story with the characters they have now. Or another classic episode, Dying for Pie. Could we even imagine Squidward being in this sentimental, calm, guilty state anymore? I actually don't. I think they took those emotions out of him. That gets me to my next point. Who the fuck is Squidward? Like, genuinely. Detach all the, like, iconicness of this character from him, you know? Make him like a piece of paper with fucking eyeballs or something. Like, what even is his character anymore? The once pretentious, straight man to SpongeBob's wackiness, who had an apathy and bitterness towards life because he thought he was meant for something more, who could relate to an older demo, he's just angry SpongeBob. So this line, you know, this line being only straight, also applies to the characters too. Everyone is the fucking same. Previously, when Squidward was caring or compassionate, or also start to tweak out, descend into madness, these were fun episodes to watch. Because typically he's not like this, and we get to see him descend into this new tweak word, you know what I'm saying? Well, because Squidward's character is so much more bleh now, like what even is he? There is no character subversion. There is no moment that could really stand out where I'm like, oh yeah, Squidward threw that pizza in that dude's face after he was being a dick to SpongeBob. I mean, he can be an asshole, but like he's like still straight up sometimes. Like you gotta be straight up. And this is just Squidward. The only reason I delve so deep into him is because his character is just so unbelievably just butchered. At least everyone else was like happy and shit, you know, before. So it's like, it's a little bit less jarring when they act goofy. But when Squidward... When Squidward looks like this... What have they done? What have they done? What have they done to Word, bro? What have they done to him? And I can go into detail about pretty much how every character is just fucking SpongeBob now. You know, Patrick, who was, yes, dumb sometimes, but could also be wise and actually had like amazing character moments where he was more than just an idiot. Or Mr. Krabs, who felt like a father figure to SpongeBob. I mean, he would literally call him Boyo. You know, all these characters being the same doesn't just ruin, obviously, SpongeBob's interactions with them, but every interaction. The relationship between Plankton or Mr. Krabs, you know? They had that Joe Biden, Donald Trump fanfic relationship where like, hey, you still there? And yeah, I'm still there. They would never be able to do that today in the modern show. And it's just, it's tragic. It's tragic. So this is what I mean when I say everything's been dumbed down. Everything's kind of been brought down to this line, this straight line of stimulation. It's gone to such an extent that the show pretty much has lost its soul. Like, I wouldn't unironically not be surprised if you just put all this shit in ChatGPT and wrote it out. Even Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, like, you can tell, you know, the years are getting to him. He doesn't have much time left. SpongeBob's gonna start sounding like a normal fucking dude soon. Like, put him to rest, bro. Put Bob to rest, please. All right, I think I might be getting a little too heated here. I might be losing you a little bit because it's like, why the fuck does he care so much? But I'll get to it. I just have to set up a lot of points first. Let's talk about modern cartoons, not just SpongeBob. The reason I brought up SpongeBob first was because it's a show that's super iconic and it's actually been ongoing this entire time, so we can see the stark difference. But what happens when Nickelodeon has to come up with new shit? Like, half their programming is already fucking SpongeBob. They have to come up with something new. And that's where you get rock, paper, scissors. What the fuck is rock, paper, scissors? Remember when I was saying, oh, what if Squidward was a piece of paper with eyeballs? I didn't say that as a random example. I was referring to this. And I can literally play you just 5 seconds of each of these characters' dialogue with the free version uploaded on YouTube, and you'll get the entire synopsis of the show. Here, watch this. Yo, by the way, I don't know if I'm able to just like show a Nickelodeon thing even though it's on YouTube. Like, I'm just gonna voice act it. All right, so this scissors guy is laughing because I guess he's supposed to be an idiot that likes bulldozing and shit, and he's like, haha, I like bulldozing. Like, you don't expect them to get bulldozed, then they get bulldozed. And the rock guy is like, oh yeah, let me turn on the fucking bodybuilding show so I can learn how to fucking bodybuild and be a model. He wants to be a model and shit. And he's like, yeah, I gotta be a model. Love a bar. I love the model. Oh, and this nerd, this is my favorite guy right here. He's turning on Tech Today. This is his favorite. Look at him sitting there. And then the other guy, this guy here, oh, I gotta pause. They're talking too fast. This guy here is like, you're such a fucking nerd. And then he's like, of course you lowlife don't understand this. I don't want to. He says the word vapid or something. I don't want to. You're vapid, of vapidness, because he's a nerd. Oh, and he made a robot. So yeah, That's the entire plot. The smart guy, the strong guy, and the bad boy. And it's rock, paper, fucking scissors. There you go. Like, oh, the piece of paper is like a nerd? Nice. The Rock is a bodybuilder? The Rock, and rock, paper, scissors is a fucking bodybuilder. Are you fucking serious? I could have written this when I was maybe 8 years old. I had like animations on my DSi of ninjas fighting each other that had better plot lines than fucking rock, paper, scissors.
Boom, bitch. I'm back. Did you not think I'd be back? That was very presumptuous of you. A very idiotic presumption, idiot. I wanted to delve deeper into why I hate this show Rock, Paper, Scissors so much, and why it's like important that I talk about this. This show is not the first, and it definitely will not be the last, of an indicator of a current trend. Previously, cartoons were born out of love and passion and sharing their own personal experiences in a medium that can relate to a younger audience and hopefully influence them in later down in life. And J.G. Quintell was working on Flapjack, and he made this beautiful show, and he was like, you know what, I need to make my own thing, and I'll make regular show, and that became his whole thing, and now I go and ham-boning every now and then. But now these networks can make shows like Rock, Paper, Scissors, which are just, I don't even have the vernacular to describe what this even is. Like, what even is this? And at this point, it's like, all right, I can't wait for fucking pencil sharpener and eraser or fork, knife, spoon. Yo, you catch the new episode of Toothpaste, Toothbrush, and Floss? Nah, bro, I missed it because I was watching the premiere of Cup, Straw, and Lid. Like, if you're wondering why I just came up with so many of these fucking examples, it's because I literally asked ChatGPT to give me examples of inanimate object trios that I can make into cartoon characters. And guess what of the fucking examples it gave me? And it's not like there haven't been character tropes before. A lot of characters have been one note. A lot of cartoons have been uninspired. But the thing is, those shows, that content wouldn't really necessarily last. There was just too much creativity for your show to be bland. I feel like even just 10 years ago. Imagine if a show like Adventure Time aired today. It would stand out so much. Like the Lich in one of the first episodes, there's zombies, and I was scared as shit at that episode, and Finn had to get the juice and cure all the fucking zombies, and oh, mathematical and all this. Like, there's none of that iconic stuff anymore. Now we got a twink piece of paper. I bet if I asked ChatGPT to go further, it would write this entire show for me. And it's sad. There is no soul. It's depressing. If I ever catch you watching Rock, Paper, Scissors, I will fucking find you. I will fuck you. I want to, reiterate this, state this very bluntly. I don't think it's the fault of the writers. It's very much, just, I guess, the product of the modern times, right? What works and what doesn't work. I think there's plenty, ungodly amounts of talent, in this filming space. There always just becomes more and more. Everything has gotten so much better, so much more competitive with how available information is nowadays. You go on Instagram Reels and you see a video by a guy that has tens of thousands of hours of experience, and the biggest reaction you'll give is like a through your nose, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have a 3-year internship with NASA and a graduate's degree from fucking Harvard, you're not gonna get that job at Walmart. I'm gonna be honest, your engineering degree is not enough. If your YouTube video isn't you spending 10,000 man hours on a single video where you try to beat Breath of the Wild while fiddling with your ball sack the whole time, then it's not gonna stand out. Like, it's gotten so competitive. So I think there's plenty of talent in the world. There's almost too much talent. There's an excess of talent. There's overflowing of talent. But it's being utilized to make rock, paper, fucking scissors. It's being utilized to create something formulaic and easy. It's utilized to make schlop. Please, if I ever fucking catch you watching rock, paper, scissors, please. All right, now let me get to like the actual why did I even make this in the first place. I didn't just turn on this camera inspired enough to complain that I would talk about this without a purpose, right? Without me thinking there's a genuine reason. Or, maybe I did. I don't, you don't fucking know me. You just fucking met me. You may think, okay, so we know it's inevitable, so why even ask for more? What's the point, right? I feel like people kind of underestimate how impactful and how meaningful the content and the things you're exposed to as a child shape who you are as a human being. Even modern day adults and teenagers are like, yeah, I just watched this new movie, fucking Dune 2, Paul Atreides or Batman or whatever, and now that's my entire personality. I'm fucking Miguel O'Hara. I gotta get huge fucking lats because I saw the Spider-Man movie one time. Like, we are so easily influenced by the media we consume. And I am too, like, I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, I literally first learned the concept of never giving up from Dragon Ball. And I'm not kidding when I say this, I'm being so serious. There's quantifiable more success in my life because I watched Dragon Ball. I can guarantee, I can put that on everything I love. That might be crazy to say that, oh, the content that you feed your kids is gonna determine their success in life and how happy they become. Yes,
I mean, that won't be the only factor. Hopefully their parents are doing a good job and they have friends that are influencing them in good ways, but who are influencing the parents and the friends? The media, right? So many life lessons as a child I was given by the shit I consumed. And I was able to enjoy and laugh and experience all these beautiful shows with iconic characters that literally shape my worldview, forming my creativity, my passions, sometimes even reasons to live. You get all of this from the outside world. It isn't something that's necessarily just given to you off birth. Now, imagine the content that you get exposed to in the most developmental period of your life. Instead of inspiring you to be creative and teaching you all these new perspectives and ideas that you take on later in life, it's all just this. This is all it is. It's all just this, all the fucking time. I wouldn't be surprised if life would start to feel and seem, and you perceive it as shit. It'll feel like you're being numbed, you're being sedated. Everyone's gonna feel the fucking same, like you're being produced out of a factory. Everyone always says that school kills creativity because it puts all these different students with all these different brains in the exact same process. Now imagine if they had school, and on top of that, outside of school, everything they consumed also continued to make them all the same. As with the nature of art, the media we consume, the things that inspire us and shape the way we see the world, over time begin to feed back into itself. Why do you think the content of today looks like brain rot, right? It's because the people currently shaping the culture online had this when they were growing up. Or all these shows that were big 6, 7, 10 years ago, back when we were younger. Henry Danger, for instance, and a bunch of others are starting to make a resurgence because the people that consumed and engaged and, liked the show, they're now old enough to shape the culture. Today's day and age, all the culture's online. You don't really necessarily need an art degree or be a film student or have some platinum album or be some super athlete to shape culture. You can just be some kid or some person that as a kid liked Henry Danger and now you make a fucking meme about it. So imagine when the kids of today eventually grow up and become the storytellers of tomorrow. Genuinely, what do you think kind of stories or what kind of perspectives do you think they'll share? What kind of culture do you think we'll have? And I know I'm being really dramatic here, saying SpongeBob becoming shit is the downfall of society, right? I'm just saying like more in a general sense, take this away from SpongeBob and more like look around. I mean, what the fuck media will even be left? It'll just be epileptic colors flashing on the screen, like genuinely, like it's just gonna devolve to that point. Yes, SpongeBob becoming shit is not gonna dispel the downfall of society, but it definitely is a symptom of a problem that we're starting to see. Like, so if you have someone younger in your life, a kid, a little brother, put them on, bro. Put them on that good shit so maybe they develop into capable human beings. I think we can no longer trust the content that's being served. We were in good hands. We had people that cared and loved the art that they were creating, that we were exposed to, but we can't really say that for the upcoming future generations. So we can make sure that, the content we produce in the future is more like SpongeBob and less like... And not just for the younger demographics. If there's something that resonates with you, a piece of art that inspires you, why would you ever try to gatekeep that? Why don't you want to share that to the world so more people and more art like this can be created? If you are eating the most delectable fucking chicken cheese quesadilla Philly cheesesteak sandwich, you're posting it on your story, tell me where that fucking spot is if I slide up. And that's the beauty of art, bro. It inspires and it builds. Anyways, that's enough of me talking out my ass. I'll stop now. I really would like to create a discussion. That's why I wanted to make a video like this and make continued videos. This is the first video on my channel. I do intend to talk about other things. If you think I'm wrong at all, if you think I interpreted this, I'm being way too dramatic. If you think, I'm addressing a symptom of a larger brain rot epidemic, let me know. And that's the beauty of engaging in a discourse, in a discussion. Everyone gets new perspectives, and sometimes you learn something new. Sometimes you just get fucking lobotomized, and you just pick your butt cheeks. Anyways, bye-bye.